There we go. We're live. But yeah, anyways, yeah, I was just sitting around editing my Iron Maiden video that I've spent way too much time on.
How long is it?
It was like 48 minutes, which apparently I used an iPad to do everything, and it was like too long. I didn't have enough storage space, so I had to split it in two and then re-edit it. And
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's nothing special. It's just it's just showing my Iron Maiden CDs and stuff, and I'm gonna rank them. It's been fun actually. I've
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
listened
there's
to
a
the
ton to go
entire
through.
catalog for the last couple weeks.
Okay.
It's been fun.
No spoilers, but are you one of those weirdos that loves the X Factor?
I don't love it, but I do appreciate it. I don't love it's there's some filler on there. There's a lot wrong with it. I
Yeah, that's right.
do like it, but what do you think?
I like it more now.
Yeah,
When it came
exactly.
out, my buddy bought it and I heard it and I was like, no. But since then, I've there's some good stuff on it. I mean,
There is
it's way as with most modern Iron Maiden, it's way too long.
way too long. It's got some filler on it. There's some stuff that just repeats itself way too much, and
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's got some. I mean, it has some like actual classic songs. Uh, what am I thinking of? Sign of the Cross is amazing.
yeah, yeah.
It's better with Bruce. It sounds like an
I
album that was probably written for Bruce, and he just wasn't there. I
right.
think that's probably the case.
I think what I do regret is that was the time they were playing like clubs because they were
Yeah,
so.
because the
I wish
'90s.
I wish I had made an effort to see them then because that will never
Yeah,
happen again.
no, and good for them. They don't. They deserve to play big places. But yeah, can you imagine seeing Maiden in a club?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Holy shit! I wonder.
I
I
know.
was I
I
was
know.
thinking about it the other day. I'm like, I wonder if like do you think Blaze made any money, or do you think you know?
I gotta imagine he did.
Yeah, well, you would think, but I remember reading this interview with Tim Owens from when he was in Priest, and he's like, I did not make.
Hmm.
He's like, I did not make hardly anything. The whole time I was in Priest, he's like, I was the new guy,
Oh,
which they probably were underpaying me, and he's like, we're playing clubs. So
right, right.
I
And
was wondering.
there's probably some deal where they're not really a full partner. They're kind of like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
you're
I,
basically a I don't know a replacement. Like yeah. But I
right.
don't know. I don't know. Yeah, and I was listening to Virtual 11. Now that album, I haven't finished it, but that one's a dud for sure.
No.
I mean, even just that album was dead from the beginning. The concept is so stupid, like
Yeah, yeah.
technology and virtual
And soccer.
reality. Yeah, yeah, and soccer. Like, I mean, like Black Sabbath already did the whole technological thing with Dehumanizer, but they did it a lot better.
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know.
I did. Do you remember Infernal Combustion? It was kind of like the Onion, but for metal. Like they
No,
made like parody stories about heavy metal, and it was one of them was Iron Maiden and Judas Priest reunion caused by not wanting to play harpos anymore. Have you heard of harpos?
I sure have. Yeah,
Okay,
pretty legendary place, right?
what a shithole.
You've
Yeah,
been there many times, or
a handful. Yeah,
yeah,
I haven't been there in probably 15 years.
yeah.
It's just
They get good
it's
shows.
they get good shows, but it's like the place is falling down. It's in the ghetto. Like it's the kind of place that you hope your car's there when you leave.
Yeah,
Um, so
yeah.
now, I mean, I've become such like a middle-aged suburban dad that like I was like,
You're
oh,
not
that
gonna
looks like
go
a
there
cool show.
anymore.
Oh, it's a Harpo's. Never mind.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I mean, I'll never be there, but yeah, I've only heard stories. I remember there was a band. I think it was a hardcore band or something that I remember they weren't from Michigan, but they actually made on their tour shirt that for that tour it literally says on the back, "I survived Harpos." It
Yep.
was like a hardcore band or something. Like that's awesome. They're not even from Michigan. They made their tour shirts basically all saying Harpo's on them. So like,
That's funny. I didn't know that like it was nationwide known. What a
yeah,
hole it was.
yeah. Is it still open?
Yeah, it's still open. Yep.
Holy shit, same building too.
Yep.
Wow. They just get enough money trickling in from the bands they book and stuff, but they obviously don't put it back into the building.
I mean, in all fairness, yeah, it's been long enough since I've been there. I don't really know, but I haven't heard like, oh, they really redid Harpo's and cleaned it up. But
you'd probably would have heard about that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so yeah, I've been listening to almost other than playing the Devin Townsend album a lot. I've been listening to almost nonstop Maiden for the last 4 or 5 days. It's been a lot of fun. Like I have like a new appreciation for a lot of the albums. Some of them I haven't heard in years. Like I haven't heard Seventh Son I probably haven't listened to that for 10 plus years. I remember thinking like, oh, that's the 80s. That's the 80s dud, right? That's the one that you don't need. But I think it's fucking amazing.
My stream totally went out. What album are you talking about?
Seventh Son.
Oh yeah. That was actually one of my first that I heard. So
not me.
Yeah, I really like it too.
I love it. Yeah. For the longest time, I was always just like, that's the worst of the 80s. But honestly, now it's one of my favorites. And and I wanted to revisit I've listened to all the the newer stuff a decent amount, but some of it I hadn't heard in a long time, or some of it I haven't heard a lot. Like Final Frontier, I remember liking it when it came out, and then I remember listening a few times, and I was like, I don't think this is very good. But honestly, like re-listening to it today, there's some really, really strong stuff on Final Frontier.
Yeah, that's one of those I kind of listened a few times, like, it's all right, and put it away. And then I heard, are you familiar with Yorn Land?
Yeah.
He was in Master Plan.
I know him. Yeah, I've heard some of his stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
He does a bunch of cover albums, and on one of them, he did the Final Frontier. And I was like,
really?
Holy crap, that's a really good song.
That's an interesting choice to pick. Wow. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's a smart move, because I'm sure he's like, everyone's covered Maiden, the classic Maiden. I'm going to cover a song that no one's ever covered before, or at least, not that anyone knows about.
Yeah, he makes some interesting picks. They're worth listening to.
Pete Edelston from he's an English bloke, cool guy.
Oh,
glad you made it, Peter. Seventh Son was the album that got him into metal. Wow. Yeah, I love it. I think Moonchild is one of the best Maiden songs ever.
Yeah.
Amazing song. Holy shit. Yeah, I can't believe I overlooked that. Like, I'd heard it, obviously, but I'm like, wow, why didn't I ever notice that? Like, this is a brilliant album.
My first
keyboards, right? No one liked the keyboards.
Right. I remember them talking about that. People were giving them crap for using keyboards. Okay.
I love keyboards in metal. I don't care.
Yeah. My first was No Prayer for the Dying, which nobody likes, but it was my first. I thought it was pretty cool.
It's not that bad. No, I re-listened to that too. I'm like, it's not. I don't think you can honestly call it a terrible album. It's not a terrible album. No. It's a little more melodic in spots. It's less complex, but like one thing that I can say is like, if you listen to it, it sounds like a band that's sure they are aging and, they changed some things, but it doesn't sound like a band that's tired or like, oh, I don't want to do this shit anymore. Like it's still, they have conviction. You can tell that they still stand behind those songs. Like it's an okay album. It's not terrible.
No, it's not great, but it's a sentimental favorite for me because I saw the Holy Smoke video on MTV and, I'd just gotten into metal. I was like, oh, Iron Maiden, I've heard of them. And so I went out and bought the tape and I was in.
Yeah, I like it. It's not a bad album at all. I'm a bigger fan of Fear of the Dark. That I absolutely love that album. But I'm biased a little bit. That was my first Iron Maiden album. So.
Okay.
But even still, like, I don't know, a lot of albums that I've been biased with over the years, I've kind of like come to the conclusion that, I'm a little bit, how much of this is my bias and how much is this actually a good album? So, I mean, there's a lot of bias, in that album, but I still love it. Like I played it the other day. I'm like, I don't know. There's some filler. There's some stuff that maybe doesn't quite work, but I still love it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
My only drawback to that one is it's where they started getting too long. Like your album doesn't have to be 72 minutes.
Yeah,
like,
that's their biggest problem now is they need to trim some of the fat off some of those songs.
Yeah.
There's 10, 20, maybe even 30 minutes of filler on some of the newer albums.
Yeah, yeah.
Peter didn't buy anything else after No Prayer, so he checked out after that. I think a lot of people did, though, to be fair.
I think so, too. Yeah.
A lot of people were like, I'm done. And like I was re-listening to, the longer albums, Book of Souls and Senjutsu. Those albums, I've came to the conclusion that maybe one time listen to it all the way through, but if you're going to re-listen to it, just listen to it in like sections. Like don't listen to the whole thing because you're just setting yourself up for not liking the album. Right. Setting yourself up for burnout, most albums you don't want to hear for an hour and a half or 2 hours straight or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Book of Souls did grow on me.
Totally.
Senjutsu did not. I think the first time I listened to it was my high point, and every time after that I just started tuning out.
That's fair. The title track is awesome. The first track on the album, I fucking love it. Which, as you know, they opened with that on the current tour. That's the opener. I love that song. But yeah, listen, if you're gonna listen to it again, maybe you give it a year or two or whatever, but like listen to it in like one disc at a time, or maybe even break it up into threes. I don't know. Just don't listen to it the whole way through, and I think you might appreciate it a little more.
Yeah, yeah.
Same with Book of Souls. Book of Souls, I liked from the start. Now I'm thinking I listen to it, one disc at a time. The first disc's really strong. And then the second disc kind of starts. There's some filler on the second disc. The last song is awesome, but I don't know. At least half that second disc is kind of fillerish to me. Same with Senjutsu. But,
well, they don't have Martin Birch anymore, as Marty brings up all the time when they talk about Iron Maiden. Like they don't have a guy saying, "Cut this, tighten this up."
It's true.
Now they've got a guy who pushes record and they do what they want.
I'm pretty sure that's the case. Yeah. It was funny. I was looking at I never noticed this for some reason. I was looking at my vinyl copy of, I think it's Killers, and on the back when it lists all the band members and it shows a picture of them, they have Martin Birch in there too. And it says Martin Birch, headmaster.
Nice.
It was awesome. But yeah, Martin, you're probably right. I can't remember when he stopped producing Maiden albums. It was at least pre-2000, I think.
Yeah.
He might have produced No Prayer. So he might have done some of the 90s.
Don't remember. Yeah. If he did, that was the last one, right? Yeah. But I think that even that, I don't think he did. But I'm not sure.
I think you're probably actually right. But yeah, it's true. I mean, I don't know. I still do find enjoyment in the modern Maiden stuff, but I don't know. I have a new appreciation also for Matter of Life and Death.
I really love that when it came out.
Yeah.
And
it holds up, man.
I don't go back to it though. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, if you ever do, it holds up. I'd recommend. Yeah, definitely go back to it at some point.
Because that was the one that they believed in it so strongly. Didn't they play the whole thing on tour?
They did, and people were pissed.
Friggin' pissed.
People were pissed. I don't know, man. It's like most Maiden fans have seen them numerous times. Are you telling me you want to see them play a greatest hits set for the 20th time?
Every time.
I couldn't fucking understand that. Like, and these like legacy bands, burnout is already like their biggest enemy. If they're passionate about something and they believe in something, let them do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's support them in it too. Don't like, oh, I'm just not going to go. Like, come on, dude. You've probably seen them before. You've probably seen them play all the hits. It's like, if they're happy with something, let them have that. Jesus, so stupid. But anyways, I guess we're not really here to talk about Iron Maiden. I could probably go all day, but we are here to talk about the new Devin Townsend album, Lightwork. What do you bought some cool vinyl set, didn't you?
No, I was thinking of it, but I didn't know it. I didn't
want to see it.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking of buying the art book with the Blu-ray and all the fancy extras, but I didn't do it.
Yeah, I might. We'll see. I'm curious. Peter, you nearly saw Maiden one time, and you live in England. That's sad. I figured you would have seen them 1,000 times. I mean, they're
I
always
get it,
touring the
man.
world.
Like every time they come around to be like,
Yeah.
it's Iron Maiden. I'll see him eventually. And then,
Surely he's
25
had the
years
chance.
went by. And I was like, shit, I guess I better see him before they're not around.
Yeah, well, I mean, they became a big band so fast that it's not like they were probably only a local band for the first year of their existence or whatever, like all those bands did. And they were touring the world really fucking quick. So it's one of those things where it's like, just because they're from England doesn't mean they play there every week. But bought the ticket and sold it. What?
Ooh, ouch.
Man, well, hopefully you get a chance to see them, because I can't imagine they're going to be around too much longer. I mean, they're in their mid 60s.
Yeah.
Which is crazy when you think about it. You saw them on that current tour. Like, how those guys have to have like a cardio regimen. Those guys are not out of shape.
Oh, yeah. They're just, Bruce is running around like crazy, and I couldn't do
Bruce
that.
is an active guy, but I think they probably all are. Like Yannick Gers, holy shit, dude.
Yep, Yannick, yep.
He's like dancing the whole time. What do you think about his like stage presence?
I like it.
I do too.
He's the new guy after 32 years in the band, and I know some people still don't like him for whatever reason, but
yeah,
I don't know. I think it's cool. I think it's cool that they brought Adrian back and kept him too. I mean,
yeah. I love it. I love his dance moves and stuff. I think he's awesome. Did he do that thing where when you saw them, like right before the band starts, did he do that thing where like he held up his guitar? Like that's so badass. I thought that was so cool. I'm like, dude, that is awesome. I really enjoyed I like him. Peter, I was quite glad when I found out Wolfsbane were supporting. When was that? When was Wolfsbane supporting Maiden? That have you ever heard Wolfsbane, Scott?
Is that Blaze's band?
Yeah, it was Blaze's band from the 80s.
Okay. Years ago, yeah.
It's
I
pretty
really
decent.
don't remember.
Kind of hard rock, heavy metal type stuff. It's melodic and catchy, but it's pretty good. It's decent. Yeah. Let's see, probably about 1990. Wow, that's really cool. So that's probably where they discovered Blaze then, if they didn't already know him, prior to that. That's pretty badass. But anyways, Devin Townsend, Lightwork came out. What was this? November 4th, I think was supposed to come out.
Yeah, supposedly.
Delayed at least a week. I imagine anyone that's ordered it has it by now, because I know it seemed like it kind of trickled in. Like some people seem to have it after the first few days, maybe even the release day, and then took us at least a week to get our copies. Yeah. Peter Edelson hates Wolfsbane. It's definitely not something I could go back to all the time. It's a little bit too melodic. But anyways, so yeah, Lightwork is the name of the album. It's got a bonus disc called Nightwork. If anyone's familiar with Devin Townsend, and by the way, I'm a fairly, if anyone hasn't seen my like previous videos where I talk about Devin, like I'm a fairly new fan. Like he was on my radar back when I knew Strapping Young Lad. Which I was never into. Were you into Strapping, Scott?
Not until I really got into Devin's solo stuff.
Okay.
I was aware of them.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the first album in my local shop, and
the first album.
Wow. Yeah, it was called "Heavy Is a Really Heavy Thing," and I was like, "What is this?" And I turned it over, and there's a picture of a little boy on the back, which was Devin when he was like a little kid, and
it's kind of cool. Actually, I only heard that recently, that album. It's kind of cool. I actually kind of dig it.
It is kind of cool, yeah. City is their masterpiece, and
absolutely, yeah.
The rest is like,
Yeah. So far, I've been, I didn't care. Like when Strapping Young Lad were around, that's when I was like really getting into black metal and death metal, and I heard Strapping Young Lad. First of all, I didn't like the name. Didn't like any of the cover art that I saw, and even the music. I'm like, I even liked stuff like Fear Factory at the time, but I couldn't get into Strapping. I'm kind of sad when I think about it, because I actually saw them live one time, and all I remember thinking is like, yeah, this still isn't for me. I'm like, this singer guy's fucking insane, and he seems really cool. That's all I really remember, and I was like, I kind of tuned out. I might have even went outside. So I wish I hadn't done that, but I like City. I like Heavy as a really heavy thing pretty decently. I don't really like the rest. But so I didn't really hear anything about Devin until the Ziltoid album, which do you remember when that came out?
I want to say it was 7.
Probably, yeah, around there. I remember a lot of people were talking about it. I was like, because even my buddies, who to this day is not a Devin Townsend fan, he's like, "Oh, you should check out this Ziltoid album. It's really cool." And I was like, "Wow, this is really cool." I liked it quite a bit. Listened to it maybe 2 or 3 times and never bought it. And then I kind of forgot about it. And then I don't know what happened recently. Oh yeah, it was on some YouTube channels. I just started randomly hearing people talk about Ocean Machine, and that I kind of really, before that, hadn't really planned on revisiting any of Devin's stuff or actually like checking any of it out. So people were talking about Ocean Machine, and I just really liked the way they were kind of articulating it. And like, okay, I need to check. And these are like black death metal fans. I'm like, all right, I need to need to at least check this out, and bought it, and just like it blew me away. Like, it's now one of my favorite albums of the last, anything I've heard in the last 5 years easily.
Yeah, I got into the first Devin Townsend Band album.
Which one was that? Key?
Accelerated Evolution.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why, for some reason, I knew the name, and I just randomly bought it, and like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And then I started working back from that.
And that was when it was a new release?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. I think that was early 2000s. I don't know. 02, 03 maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I've ever since, picking up Ocean Machine, that was only just a couple of months ago. I've just, I was like, okay, this is someone who I need to investigate this guy's, his work. I need to investigate all of it. And I'm still in the process of doing that. Obviously, it's going to take me a while.
There's a lot.
And I'm not rushing into it either. What I'm doing is I'm kind of like, I'll listen to an album once or twice. If it doesn't click with me just yet, I kind of put it on the back burner. I'm like, all right, I'll come back to it. So I'm kind of like making videos as I'm listening to these albums, and that they are like clicking with me. If they're not clicking with me yet, I'm not going to make a video about it. I'm like, this album isn't very good. I'm not going to do that. So, and Peter, Gene Hoglan was in Strapping Young Lad. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Zimmer's Hole. Yeah, Peter just brought up Zimmer's. Have you ever heard Zimmer's Hole?
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
It's pretty
Zimmer's
cool
Hole
stuff, actually.
Strapping without Devin, basically.
Yeah, and with like a crazy, equally crazy singer, but in a totally different style.
Yeah, a lot more humor and tongue in cheek.
Yeah, totally. It's totally like a metal parody album, which usually I would kind of turn my nose at that, but it's good it's good because you can tell it's people that actually like metal. I don't know, parody shit in metal almost never works for me. But so Ocean Machine, absolutely loved that, and I've just been kind of slowly investigating his stuff. I'm finding, like I've told you, that I more like the, like, I don't want to say somber, but the more like emotional type songs. I mean, he does cool metal stuff too. Like I absolutely love the Ziltoid album from front to back. I just think it's it's a total metal album. But I mean, like, I listened to Infinity and Teria. Teria I preferred to Infinity, but I'm still kind of, I think I'm not in the right mindset yet for those albums. So
okay,
yeah. But as soon as I found out that this Lightwork was coming out, I just was like anticipating it like more than I have any album in kind of a long time, actually. I know you avoided the singles, which I wish I had that restraint, but I just couldn't do it.
I think I would have totally avoided them, except you made, was it Moon People, the first kind of reaction? I did watch that, and then I listened to the song, and I was like, it's cool, but I don't know.
Grower.
I don't know where we're going.
Yeah. So, same here. I was like, what do I do with this?
Yeah. But I've had a lot of experiences where, they release a song from an album ahead of time, and I listen to it, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't like it. And then when I get the album,
True.
and it's in the album, I do like it.
Yeah.
So that's just I'm way more of an album guy, and songs
me too.
usually make more sense to me in the context of the whole album.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I try to stay away from the advanced singles.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know what I was thinking too is like when a band releases a single, something that you're really excited for, you hear the single and you hate the single.
Yeah.
That can like mess up that like ruins your excitement for the album.
Yeah.
Because then you almost are down on the album before it even comes out. So it can mess. I see where you're going there. I think that's probably a thought that you probably had. Like, what if I don't like it? Okay. Yeah. I really enjoyed listening to those singles as they came out. I just, every time he released one, I could not wait. I was like checking YouTube every day for the next one. And I've kind of told you a little bit about this, but I also completely forgot what it's like since I only had one track at a time to listen to, I would listen to them like 3, 4, 5 times a day. And I'd forgotten what it's like to play something on repeat and like give it proper time. I realized that I don't think I've done that very much in years. I'm so like listening to albums one time and then like, all right, moving on to the next one. And like, I think we're listening to too much stuff and not actually giving it time.
Yeah, that was a cool perspective. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah. So I was like, this is like what I used to do when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
That's why I loved those albums so much, is because I gave them the right amount of time.
Yeah, you'd get the one tape you got a month, and then if you didn't like it, you would keep listening to it till you did like it, because that was your new tape. Yep. Yeah.
So I can't believe that's something that I forgot about. And Peter says, Lacquer by Catatonia killed the album for him. Yeah. And he was a massive fan.
Yeah, I get it.
Perfect example. But yeah, I mean, all the singles were growers for me, but they're now some of my favorite songs from the entire album, especially Lightworker. So first you had Moon People, which is the first song. I absolutely love it. What do you think about Moon People?
Like I said, it was, I wasn't sure when I heard it. I liked it, but I wasn't sure where we were going. This meant for the album.
I didn't like it right away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now hearing it as the opener of the album, it's just perfect.
It is.
It's absolutely perfect. I wouldn't put it anywhere else. It had to be the opener.
Yeah.
Are we going in?
I think so. Yeah, I guess I think we'll just go to like track by track, really.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So and I would recommend. I reviewed all 3 singles on my channel, which I'm really glad that I did that because that was a lot of fun. And I would recommend watching those videos for anyone. The videos are just so cool. And I'm not a music video guy typically. I was like in the 90s, but they give the song. They're perfect. Actually, Devin Townsend videos, from what I've seen, they're always really good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I think I've already said my part about that album. But if you have anything more to say about the Moon People song?
Yeah. It really grabs your attention right away because it's not what you're expecting from a Devin album. Yeah. I mean, his stuff is always different, but for an opener, it's like it's so kind of simple and positive, and I want to say sparse. It's not really sparse, but for Devin, it is.
Yeah.
Like there's not a whole lot going on.
Right. There's not a ton of layering. There is at points,
right,
but there are points where there isn't. Yeah.
Right. When it starts, especially, it's super like. I guess I'll just sparse again. I don't know. I need a thesaurus to stop saying sparse. But.
No, I agree with you there because he's so he loves to layer his songs. You can tell he just keeps adding layers on top of layers, and there's a little less of that on that song. Yeah. And
almost my favorite moment in the entire album is in this song, where it's like halfway through the song, and we're going along. We've had the chorus, and then the layering starts, like sounds start coming in and almost like swirling in upon him. And to me, I equated it to like intrusive thoughts. Like he's trying to be positive, but then all this stuff starts coming in, and then he just goes, "Stop it!" And then it stops, and then the song continues.
Simple.
Oh, it's awesome! Yeah.
That because anyone that knows anything about Devin, if you've listened to his podcast or read his books or whatever, you can totally tell that's kind of like a representation of like the anxiety that he has and like his way of like battling it. Like, Yeah, because he talks a lot about, like how he overcame, certain things, and overcame his anxiety and depression and stuff like that. I mean, people that struggle with things like that, they don't ever go away, but you can go make efforts to kind of to deal with it. So yeah, I agree with you. That was a really cool thing that he did with that song. Yeah, that's still one of my favorite songs on this album.
Yeah. It kind of not as it's not as obvious the second time, but those sounds start coming in again, and instead of the stop it, the chorus comes in and it seems like louder and more forceful, like he's trying to drown it out.
Like voices in his head is what
on the surface it seems really simple, but there's a lot going on.
There is.
If you dig into it.
Yeah, no, there totally is. Yeah, so that song is just amazing. I love it. I've listened to it probably dozens of times. And then track 2, which was this was actually the third single, the third out of the 3 singles. So Lightworker. I think I'll say right off the bat, I'm pretty sure this is my favorite song on the album. I mean, it's a masterpiece just by itself. Cool video. So this one, yeah, I don't even know how to really describe it. It's kind of epic in a way. I think I would call it epic. It's very symphonic. There's the I don't think he hired an orchestra this time like he's done in the past. That's really expensive. I don't think he used
I don't
an orchestra.
think he did.
Yeah, I think maybe this was maybe made in the studio, but it's so awesome. It's like just a total symphonic metal song, I guess you could call it. But I mean, the atmosphere and the lyrics are just so powerful. Like the first time I heard that chorus, and I didn't know the lyrics yet, I was like, what the hell is he saying? I'm not sure. I get, I had to read the lyrics, but that chorus it's so powerful. Like probably one of the more, like, it's just, every time I listen to that song, when the chorus kicks in, like no matter what I'm doing, I just stop everything that I'm doing. I stop thinking about anything, and I'm just like sucked into it. What do you think about Lightworker?
That it was immediately on the first listen. That was my favorite song. Yeah. And it probably still is.
Yeah.
That kind of that signature, huge, anthemic, big choir chorus. It's like, yes, this is one of the things I love about Devin's music, and it's here as good or better than it's ever been. So
totally. I think it would even be maybe at this point one of my favorite songs of his in general.
Okay.
Probably top 10, I would say. Yeah. Do you have any other thoughts on that song specifically, or it's a hard one to talk about?
It's a shame because I was making my notes and I was like, I didn't have any notes for Lightworker, but I love it so much. I don't know what to say about it. It's just great.
It's such a deep song. I'm finding myself like really struggling to talk about it. I already did. I talked about it enough, I'm sure, in the video that I made. But amazing song. If anyone, I would recommend that song to even people that aren't familiar with Devin Townsend. Like if you were like, oh, I like progressive metal, I like the symphonic progressive metal, I would recommend that to you like right away. Like you need to hear this.
This is the song I would pull out to share with somebody that I wanted to get into the album. Like, listen to this. If you don't like this, you're not gonna like it.
Yeah. If you don't like that song, I would have a hard time understanding why, but everyone has their, we're all different. Track 3, Equinox. This one, first of all, I will say I don't find there to be any filler. After listening to both discs probably close to 10 times each, I like some songs more than others, but I don't find any filler on here. That's my personal thing.
No, I wouldn't say filler. There are some on the second disc I don't like.
Yeah.
But
Equinox is a cool song. This is one of my, I was listening to it actually right before we started talking, and I was like, wow, okay, I like the song more than I have in the last 8 listens. So it's growing on me, even though it's one of my least favorites. It's a great song. The riffs at the beginning are awesome. Some great lyrics. I still don't have a ton of to say about this particular song just because it's one of the ones that it only recently caught me. At first even 7 listens, I was like, love the riff at the beginning. I love some of the lyrics. There's some great lyrics, but it only just started to grab me. So I don't know. What do you think about Equinox?
Yeah, for this one, I've got. I really like the uplifting melody.
Yeah.
Contrasted with the background vocals, which I don't know. I don't think I even knew what they were saying until I got the lyrics. But they're saying "I want to die."
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Like the female background vocals, but I think it's Shay from Casualties of Cool.
Wow. That's pretty deep. Yeah,
and to me, it's like I kind of went up my own ass on this album. Like I've got a whole a concept that I may just have made up in my head.
That's what music does to people. Sometimes we have a direction or a theme that we feel, even though we might find out that, like, all right, that wasn't the artist's intention, but you can't take it away. It's in your head and it's there.
For me, like these first 4 songs is like Devin, or the protagonist, whatever you want to say, trying to be positive, trying to almost force a positive attitude. Yeah. But things start kind of slipping, and then he brings it back. So like in this one, we kind of get Devin screaming more where he hasn't so much before this, but then he pulls it back.
Yeah. A little bit of angst in that.
Almost
song.
Like he's starting to lose his grip, but then he kind of gets back where he wants to be. That was the feeling I got from this, especially with the trying kind of the uplifting sound, but then in the background the sing "I want to die, I want to die."
Wow, I need to re-listen to that to catch that part. Yeah, while this isn't a concept album, he has said that he kind of, I think, for the first, I don't know about the entire album, but the first 3 or 4 songs, he said that there is kind of a loose concept going on. Like, I don't know if you knew that. He said that he did kind of intend to have like a character, kind of like you said, where it's a character on a journey. Moon People was kind of like him not knowing where he is and trying to find a way out. And then Lightworker, I can't remember where Lightworker ties into it, but Call of the Void, which we'll talk about next, was like the song where his character finds a way out and he's on his way to, to where he wants to be or where he might need to go. Okay. So yeah, track 4, Call of the Void. And that's kind of why he used the train theme. That's why the whole video is recorded like on a train. That's basically like his character struggling, but now I'm on a train, to go find some peace somewhere.
Okay.
And he also, I said it in the video also, my kind of review video, he was inspired. This is the video aspect. This doesn't have anything to do with the song, but he did the train thing because during the pandemic, he found a YouTube channel where a woman she loves taking train rides. So she'll get on a train and she'll make videos about her journey. She'll film, while the train is moving. I think she lives maybe in the Scandinavia or something like that, if I remember correctly. So she's filming like these beautiful landscapes, as she's going through. And I don't think she does a lot of talking. It's literally just like her showing the landscapes. I think she puts music, behind it. And Devin was like, he said he was just absolutely obsessed with that channel. He was watching it every day because he couldn't go anywhere. So it was like, he said for being stuck, that was like the perfect escape. He couldn't get on the train, but at least he could watch other people do it. And made his anxiety kind of, it helped his struggles a little bit. So that's why that's why the train thing is on the video. Another cool video. I like the other 2 better, but this song was also every time I would listen to those 3 singles, Lightworker hit me right away, but Moon People and Call of the Void were not as immediate. Like I didn't dislike them ever, but I was like, okay, there's something going on here. I don't know if I'm a big fan of this. I think it took 3 or 4 listens for Call of the Void, and now I'm just like, what the hell is wrong with me? Like, I actually love this song. This song is pretty kind of along with Moon People. It's it's very light. It's, there's no heaviness going on. It's just, I don't really know how to describe it. It's perfect in its own way. I love the chorus and the lyrics. And what do you think about Call of the Void?
Yeah, this was another one that was one of my favorites right away.
Was it right away?
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, probably because another anthemic chorus, which I love from Devin. And it seemed like this had more of a melancholy to it. Yeah. Whereas earlier we're getting, positive. This one seemed a little bit more, maybe not so great.
Like with a layer of positivity.
Like
it's not I wouldn't call it a depressing song by any means.
No, not at all.
But it is somber. Yeah, there is some somberness going on.
It wasn't what this was the one that I think Angry Metal Guy brought up, that the chorus talks about freaking out, and he thought that was stupid. But
he said the lyrics are stupid, but I don't really agree. I can see where he's coming from though, but I don't think there's any bad lyrics going on there at all.
No.
Yeah, I still can't believe that. I think his review, I think most people are probably familiar with Angry Metal Guy. It's a good blog. It's a really good blog. But he gave this album a pretty poor review. Maybe not poor. I think he gave it like a 6.5. That's not a bad score by any means, but I think he missed the mark on on a lot of it. I think he said he didn't like Lightworker. I just don't get that.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever. It's cool.
I think you're right that it sounded to me like a review that he might have listened to it once or twice and didn't grab him. And
I get it. He's a busy guy. He probably doesn't listen to a lot of albums more than once or twice. I mean, he's cranking out reviews, at least on a weekly basis. I think he does a few per week. Yeah.
And when this was years ago, but I was getting promos to write reviews.
Yeah. So you know how he feels.
The first couple months, it's so awesome, man. You're getting all these free records in the mail, and but it doesn't take long before you got a stack.
Yeah.
And you're obligated to write something about each of them, and I got to listen to it a few times at least, and then then you get something that for whatever reason you're in a bad mood, you listen to it, it pisses you off.
Yeah.
And you're just like, fuck this album. I'm gonna roast it and move on because I don't want to listen to this anymore.
Yeah.
So that happens,
Yeah. It does. So I would say too, like, if anyone's considering getting this album, or if they've already heard it, like if they've listened once, don't just listen one time and then write it off. Like, listen to it at least 3 times, I would say.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, you need to give this album time. I would be so disappointed with myself if I bought this, listened to it once, and then shelved it. I think I would miss out on, and that could have easily happened. But I think I would have just. I guess you don't know what you're missing, but I mean, don't do that with this album. Give this one some time. Track 5, Heartbreaker. I remember you saying that you like that. This is one of your favorites.
Yeah, which is odd. But yeah, I'm sorry. But go ahead.
No, it's fine. Yeah, it was funny because even when you said that, I was like, that's weird. That one's not really grabbing me, but now it's one of my favorites too. On like the 5th or 6th listen, that really hit me. I'm like, holy shit, this song is amazing. Like a little bit more metal than the first 4, but there's not a lot of heaviness on this album, but there is some metal stuff. That one starts getting into. I really love like the midpoint or like near the end where it has kind of a, what would you call it? Almost not an industrial feel, but like a mechanical feel to it. And that bleeds into the next song too. It almost sounds like metal made by robots or something, like AI. Like it has a very cool, I actually kind of called it while I was listening to it. I was like, I kind of called it like, this is like cyber metal. Like,
okay. Yeah.
But done really, really cool. Like maybe, it could have been like a B-side to like Strapping Young Lad, like the opposite of what they were about. But
right,
I love this song.
When I first heard this, I was like, "This is a weird shift."
It is jarring because it doesn't sound like anything else on the album.
And then on point. And then that live stream he did, he mentioned that this was not supposed to be on the album.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
that he had another song in its place, and I forget all the details, but it had a sample in it, and he didn't actually use a sample. He like recreated the sample, but it was some legal thing that they were uncomfortable with the song being in there. So I think this was supposed to be on Nightwork.
Okay.
But he plugged it in. It works.
Totally. Yeah, it totally works.
It is, I guess, for somebody who's familiar with Devin, it's more what you would expect. True. It's a lot more layers, more complex. There's all these like sudden shifts into different directions.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, halfway through the album to have this shift, I think it's a nice change.
It is.
And it leads into like the next couple songs. Like it's not just a weird song in the middle of it and then we're back to where we were.
No. Yeah, I consider like track 5, 6, and 7, at least those 3 are like almost like one long song. Like that could have been like a 20-minute song.
Yeah.
That would have made a killer EP actually. Those 3 songs. That would have been awesome. Yeah, so track 6, Dimensions, it's pretty much Heartbreaker Part 2, like it's like a continuation. And this song is awesome. There's just so much of this weird, like robotic, like jamming going on. Mm-hmm. This one, I sometimes now I'll just play Heartbreaker and then Dimensions together. I just love the, there's no vocals for a while. It's just like riffing, and it just sounds so like, I'm having a hard time describing like I keep saying like it's got like a sci-fi feel. It's like sci-fi metal. Not super heavy or angry or anything, but a little bit heavy. It's definitely metal sounding. I think he's to the point now where, and he's even said like he's not, he'll still make heavy music, but it's not going to be angry, or it's not going to be like hateful.
Yeah.
He absolutely doesn't want to go in that direction anymore. I don't think you'll ever hear anything like that from him again, but he could still do heavy and, a little bit of angst, but not ferocious or anything, or not seething, definitely not hatred of any sort. So yeah, Dimensions is so cool.
He said that, with Strapping Young Lad, that in the early days he felt that way.
Yeah.
And
he was a kid. He was still a kid at that time,
Yeah. So it was authentic, but then he felt like he had to force it later, and that it wasn't good for him. It put him in a bad headspace.
Yeah.
But this song right away, I was like, I thought this sounds like SYL to me.
Yeah.
I mean, not as negative, but
right.
The mechanical rhythms, and there's like some like mechanical sounds in there too.
Yeah. It's like Strapping Young Lad light.
Yeah. And he's screaming right away.
Yeah.
There in the middle of the song, there's like he sings "Look to the Sky" like in a clean voice, and then it just kind of gets drowned out. Like, yeah, forget that. Forget that hippy dippy happy stuff. We're angry now.
Yeah, when I was listening to that song the other day, I was actually thinking like, oh man, I bet if the other Strapping Young Lad guys heard that, I bet they were like, oh man, like,
yeah,
why can't we be a part of this?
That opening riff too. It reminds me of a Strapping Young Lad song, but I haven't gone back. I don't remember what song it is, and I haven't investigated, and maybe I made that up, but it sounded like something he'd done before. I really like that weird guitar solo too. There's like atonal. It reminded me of Zappa. I think that was Mike Keneally who did that.
Oh, okay.
Before I had the album, it was like I knew Steve Vai was on it somewhere. I was like, is that Vai?
Yeah,
but I think it's Mike Keneally.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that song, and I really love the like robotic. Like maybe it's a vocoder or something like that, but those robotic vocals.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of like Terminator 2 or something. Like this is just I'm getting like a super like sci-fi atmosphere, and it was really cool. Track 7, Celestial Signals, also an amazing song. This is another one though that it didn't grow on me until later, so I'm still kind of like I still feel like I'm still developing, maybe things to say about it. So, but I'll struggle right now because that song only really clicked with me like the other day. What do you think about that one? I think you like that one a lot too.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. The like grand choir in the beginning, that sucked me right in. And then it kind of gets calm again, and then has the the awesome chorus. And this was on the bonus disc of Transcendence.
Okay.
I knew when I heard the album, I was like, wow, this sounds familiar. Is it?
Yeah.
And then I was just something in my head was like, you've heard this before. So I started looking back and I was like, oh, okay. It was on the bonus disc of Transcendence.
Yeah, you told me that, and I still haven't heard Transcendence, so I was like, okay, I guess I'll catch on to that one eventually. But is it the same song, or is it like reconstructed?
I mean, it's a little different, but it's the basic framework is the same.
Oh, okay.
In those bonus discs usually are, I think he considers them demos, even though they sound better than most people's finished albums. But
oh yeah. Yeah, no, he does kind of consider them that, but he also kind of considers them like he's like, these are albums actually. I like how he does that, where most people's bonus material is at best just okay. Obviously, if it was great, they would have put it on the album, but Devin's, whatever you want to call it, bonus material or unused material, is like the best I've ever heard from any band.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, I'm a sucker for bonus material with bands that I like, but 9 times out of 10, I'm just like, okay, I see why they didn't use this.
Right. Yeah. And I think I tend to not pay as much attention to the bonus discs. And I think
same here. Yeah.
It's like, if his albums weren't so good, like these bonus albums could be great albums on their own, but it's like, I usually listen to them together.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's some good stuff on there, but it's not the main album. So I probably should just sit down and listen to those albums by themselves, or those bonus discs, whatever you call them, by themselves sometime.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I love the lyric. There's a line in the song where it says like a butterfly, like as if metamorphosizing. Is that a word? Changing. Let's keep it simple, I guess. Yeah, great chorus on this one. I think every chorus on this entire album is just super memorable.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard choruses at least this frequent where like every song I'm like, the chorus is perfect. Next song, perfect. Next song, perfect. Like yeah. So that's definitely a cool song. I think I said that it kind of goes together with 5 and 6, but only a little bit. It's mostly 5 and 6, but 7, not as much, I guess.
Yeah, well, in my made up concept album, I have these 3 grouped together. And the notes I made about it was like the character kind of losing their positivity a little bit and more chaotic thoughts coming in, but they keep trying to get back to a more healthy mindset. Yeah,
no, definitely. Yes. Then track 8. Let's see, Heavy Burden, another grower for me. I only kind of really grabbed onto this one over the last few days. Let me see. Which one was this? I don't know. What do you think about Heavy Burden?
This is another of my favorites right away.
Oh, okay.
It's just so beautiful, and it might be because Annika's on it, and
that's right.
She's my girlfriend, and she's in love with me.
Yeah, I mean
that's totally real.
Yeah, I forgot about that. She's on this album, not as much as like Epicloud, but she's there.
Yeah,
not every song, but
no, in a lot of background stuff. Yeah, I mean, just because I love her so much, I wish she was on it more, but it's fine.
I think her and Devin should just do a band, like just have a band together.
Yeah. I like that. It's kind of has some simplicity, and then it goes into some kind of what some would say are random parts, but it's still all positive. Like there's not the like the intrusive kind of chaotic stuff that is in like the previous section.
True.
It's like in my, again, made up concept, it's like he's coming back to where he wants to be.
Yeah.
Not so much fighting against himself.
True. Yeah, I would definitely, as a whole, I would say this album is definitely like, it's like a journey. The whole album is a journey. Even though it's loosely connected, if you want to look at it the way that just pretend that it is. It feels like a journey, kind of an epic, journey when you're trying to get from point A to point B, and some days you're going to struggle more than others. But I don't know. The Devin's really he's really inspired me to try harder with certain things, with aspects of mental health, and so yeah, I definitely attribute this album to it. The next song, Vacation, definitely this was a grower for me, but I really love it now. I feel like Devin always, on most of his albums, he has maybe a song or two where I feel like he's talking about his wife. So I think, I mean, it's pretty obvious on this one, but I kind of didn't like it at first, but I love it now. It's got a somber feel, but also a very hopeful feel. And this is maybe the most mellow song on the entire album, but it's also kind of, it's kind of happy and sad at the same time. I feel like maybe he wrote this when, maybe he was feeling unsure, maybe about, some very personal things.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about this one?
Yeah, that line about wondering if I'll run away and it's only Tuesday or something. It's like, oh, jeez.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then, trying to be positive about it after that. I really like it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Feels real.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's one thing that I've liked most about Devin's music is that I don't know, I don't want to compare him to anyone else, but when I read the lyrics and stuff, I just feel like it's so relatable. And I feel like I'm sure a lot of people, write lyrics from the heart, of course, but his are sometimes so personal, that it's almost I don't know. I just love the way he writes, lyrics. Songs like this.
All right. I lost audio somehow. I'm going to duck out and come back.
I can hear you. He'll be back. Anyway, yeah, track 9, Vacation. Like I said, I feel like he probably wrote this for his wife, but it's also, I don't know, it's kind of a sad song, but it's kind of happy at the same time. I think I'll just leave it at that. Track 10, Children of God. Kind of don't want to talk about this one until Scott gets back, but maybe I'll start anyways. So this is kind of the centerpiece of the album. It's the longest song. I think it clocks in at over 10, 11 minutes. This one I kind of struggle with. This isn't one of my favorite. Sorry, I keep shaking my laptop here. I need to get a desk or something. I don't think I like the song as much as I thought I would. I know. Let's see. Scott's trying to come back. There you go.
All right. I don't know what's going on. All right.
Now, it happens. This is a pretty common thing with I don't want to say with StreamYard necessarily, but with most streams, there's always an audio issue. I feel like with all the streams I watch. So yeah, track 10, Children of God. I kind of mumbled about it for 15 seconds before you came back.
Okay.
I feel like Devin intended this to be the centerpiece of the album.
Mm-hmm.
I always say, I always use the word centerpiece when a band will write a song that's way longer than all the others, and it'll be at the end of the song. I feel like I call that the centerpiece, and the way that he's talked about it, I think he probably agrees. This isn't my favorite song though. I kind of actually hoped I would like this one more because I do like long songs. This one's over 10 minutes. And it is a really good song. I like it more every time I hear it, I think, but it's not my favorite. What do you think?
It's not my favorite either. I feel like instead of the centerpiece, it's almost like the wind down.
Yeah. The wrap up.
It's it's very kind of repetitive, and I enjoy it, but it's not the one that I'm waiting for it to get to that song. When I get to that song, I'm like, okay, we're done. And then it just kind of, it's kind of like the end credits to me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I want to like that song more. And I definitely don't dislike it. I would never skip it. I wouldn't skip anything on this album, when I'm listening to it. I think I might like this one more and more every time I hear it, but trying to criticize this song is almost pointless. Like,
Yeah,
I can't really say anything bad about it. I
Yeah.
just, I guess for as long as it is, I don't like it as much as some of the others. But so yeah, getting into the bonus disc, if you want to call it that, second disc of, and it has a name. What did he call this? Because he always titles his. Let's see, I think I have it. He always titles his.
Nightwork.
Oh, it's Nightwork. I'm stupid. I was thinking of something else. Oh my god. Anyways, it's titled Nightwork. I love how. First of all, I love how the disc has a. Whoops, where am I? I love how the disc has a cat on it. That's just it's so awesome. And I like how the cat shows up. And if you pull out the booklet, the cat shows up a couple times in there too. So yeah, as we said previously, Devin, he doesn't always make a second disc to his albums, but he's done it numerous times. And you might know this better than me. So he did it on this album. He did it on Empath. He did it on Transcendence, which I still haven't heard. Did it on Terria too, or what other one?
No, let's see.
I feel like I'm missing one.
Accelerated Evolution had a bonus disc that was like an electronic side project. It was kind of just like an EP.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, were there any other ones? Ziltoid has a bonus disc, but again, it's just like a couple things. It's not a full album.
Oh, I think I have a single disc version. God damn it. Okay, we'll have to track that one down. But yeah, so he does, he does bonus discs somewhat frequently. And as we've said earlier, a lot of bands will do a bonus disc and it'll just be almost just scraps, if you're lucky, almost sometimes downright uninspiring. I don't know, some bonus material from some bands is just, I'll listen to it one time and literally never again. Like, I don't ever need to hear that. It was so mediocre. But with Devin, I feel like a lot of the time his bonus stuff, it almost all of it could have made the album. It would be a really long album, but I don't know. I appreciate it. More than any band I think I've ever heard. I was a big fan of the Empath bonus disc. Obviously, I talked about that one nonstop. So yeah, this one's cool. Starchasm. This is the first song. I think it's a pretty long song if I remember correctly. The first three songs are just like, they kind of go together, and it's kind of just like full on symphonic metal. Heavy, but I wouldn't say aggressive, but heavy and, tons of energy. It's like Devin firing on all cylinders. Fast, double bass drumming. I could listen to an album of that, to be honest, if he did a full album. And this song is so cool. Is there a Starchasm Part 1, by the way? There has to be.
Not that I could find.
No shit?
Yeah.
What? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
I figured you would know.
Yeah, no, I don't. If there is, I don't know of it.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Man, I would love to hear what Sarcasm Part 1 sounds like.
Yeah.
But this song is awesome. This is the one that has Annika, from The Gathering, full on, like kind of like Epic Cloud.
Yeah.
She's, just as important on this song as Devin is. And this is the song that has the Steve Vai guitar solo.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was really cool to see. I wouldn't mind hearing Steve Vai appear more on. I bet he might actually, now that you know how Devin is. He likes to keep people around for future stuff.
Right. I like hearing the stories of when he was in Vai's band and now.
Yeah.
And now they're friendly. Like that I don't know. It just makes me happy because their relationship wasn't good for a long time because of whatever disagreements at the time and.
Yeah. I think it was a thing where it's like, I think Steve was not happy with Devin, but it seemed like they were never like enemies or anything. They just maybe weren't, super close. The stories about those two are pretty entertaining, actually. If you read into it, like, but yeah, it's cool to hear him back because that's kind of like a full circle type thing.
Yeah. These first three songs, I feel like this is what somebody who doesn't listen to Devin all the time, this is what they would expect to hear. This is kind of Ziltoid-ish type material. Especially these first three is like, I get why this isn't on Lightwork. It would be totally out of place.
It wouldn't have
but
worked. Yeah.
it's cool to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. Track 2.
And who knows,
Stampy's
you know, we
Blaster.
might these.
No, go ahead.
That
Sorry.
yeah.
Didn't mean to cut
Oh
you
no,
off.
just that these we've seen it before that this bonus stuff might pop up again later. If he feels like it fits into an album he's doing later, we might, hear a new version of it. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Because like if you listen to the bonus disc on Empath, it's kind of funny. You'll hear, and I didn't know this because I hadn't heard all the stuff prior to that, but there's some stuff on there that it appears in other songs from other albums. It might only be like a chorus. It's crazy. Sometimes it might just be a line or something.
Right.
But sometimes it might be like half the song. Like there's some stuff I noticed. There's probably a bunch I didn't notice yet because I just don't know. But there's some stuff that was from the second Zoltoid album that is on.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Empath bonus disc. I don't understand that process, but it's it's really cool. Yeah, part 2, Stampy's Blaster, or song 2. I'm not really sure what this is supposed to be. I don't. It's just
to me, it's
like a snippet, right? I think this is just like a snippet of something that didn't work out.
Like a cool idea he had, but he couldn't figure out where to.
Yeah.
Something else to go along with it. So like, here it is.
Yeah, I think it's like less than a minute long, right?
Yeah.
It's just like super fast, just double bass drumming and super fast guitars, and it sounds like something that would have made a really cool song, but whatever. It's not what it is.
Yep.
Track 3, Factions. That's an amazing song. Totally goes with Starchasm. This is still in that vein of like symphonic cyber metal. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I really need to listen to it on its own because usually I listen to this right after Lightwork and I'm like, it's all right,
Yeah,
maybe. It's probably better than I'm giving it credit for, just because I like Lightwork so much.
It probably is. Factions, yeah, this is one of my favorites. Let's see. This is the heaviest. I think this is actually the heaviest song on this whole thing. On 1 or 2. Yeah, this is another could be strapping young lad song. But I absolutely love it. It would actually, Factions could have made the album. Factions could have gone with Dimensions easily, I think.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And then so track 4, you got Yogi, so we're getting back to the mellow side of things. This is also one of my, maybe not one of my favorites, but it's in the middle. It's sort of one of my favorites. Okay. Do you have any thoughts on that one?
I must have run out of steam taking notes. I wrote pleasant.
Pleasant. Yeah, that's the word.
And then I wrote
very mellow.
It reminded me a bit of Casualties of Cool. That's kind of that vibe.
Okay. Even though I've just only started to check out Casualties of Cool, yeah, this kind of has that vibe. Yeah, this is a very mellow song, still kind of cybery sounding, like futuristic metal sounding, but very mellow. Yeah, okay, maybe it's not. The more I think about it, it's not one of my favorites, but I do like it. And then you're getting into, let's see. Okay, here's an interesting one. Track 5, Precious Sardine. Mm-hmm. What do you think about this one? This should be interesting.
This is the dud for me.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. It would. There's so much going on. I feel like I'm missing something. But as of now, this kind of stuff is what I didn't like about Empath.
Oh, okay.
Just kind of all over the place.
And like a sore thumb.
Yeah. And the dance beats that felt like they went on for 20 minutes. And and this is kind of a bitchy comment, but I think we need like a 10-year moratorium on saying quarantine songs now, because everybody's writing their quarantine album and you hear quarantine over and over. And as soon as I heard him say quarantine, I was like rolling my eyes, like, okay, all right.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, clearly, I'm sure that's why it didn't make the album. I actually like this album. It's like it's really jazzy at the beginning, or maybe most of the song. It's a weird song. It's very jazzy, and it's very, I don't know. Jazzy is the only word I can think of to describe it.
Okay.
Now that you mentioned it, I could probably have gone without the the quarantine theme, but I like the song quite a bit. It's weird, but it's cool on its own. I wouldn't want to hear him do a full album of this kind of stuff, but
Right.
I think it's cool. Precious Sardine is is kind of a funny title. Fits the song, but yeah. Number 6, Hope is in the World. This is one that actually kind of just started growing on me as well, but this is now this is one of my favorites, I think, of the entire thing, track or disc 1 and 2.
Yeah, I like it too. It felt like if people ever released like CD singles with B-sides anymore, this would be like a B-side. Like it feels like it fits in with Lightwork. Not quite as good as what's on Lightwork, but it could be like a B-side.
Yeah. I guess it sounds more like Lightwork than a lot of these songs. But there's a few that do. That one could have almost been included. Track 7, Children of Dog. I'm still trying to figure this one out. What do you know what correlation it has to? Obviously, it's inverted. Dog is inverted. God spelled, God backwards. And I know Devin said that there's a connection to these two songs, but I haven't really figured that part out yet.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, the first few times I just kind of wrote it off. Like, oh, okay, it's just a continuation, same kind of verse. And but listening to it more, there's some cool other like kind of expansions and other ideas going on. Yeah. So I feel like maybe Children of God was originally like 18 minutes long.
Oh,
and then he decided
that's a good point.
He decided to take that stuff out because I think
I
would like to hear like the two songs combined.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I don't want to hear it on Lightwork. Like that, they would think it'd be too much at the end of Lightwork.
I hadn't thought about that. That makes sense. I think if I were to guess, which obviously is all I can do right now, but I think you might be right. I think maybe I think Children of Dog might be something that he trimmed off of Children of God. So I don't know if I don't know if they would have fit together or if he took parts of it and kind of reconstructed it. I'm not really sure, but okay. I kind of like Children of Dog better, actually.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
Kind of.
I think I do too. But I think if you plug that into Lightwork, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, true. Yeah, maybe I like it because it's, and again, I do like long songs, but maybe I like it because it's shorter and maybe less repetition going on. But it's a cool song. Now these last 3 I really like. They were all growers on me. I don't think I liked any of these right away. But yeah, track 8, Sober. We've talked about that one. That one probably could have fit on the album easily. I think.
It reminded me of that, like the first Devin Townsend band album, like the same kind of somber attitude.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
But I mean, if you don't listen to the lyrics, it just kind of sounds like a chill out ballad.
Yes.
But the lyrics are pretty deep.
Yeah, that's actually what made me appreciate it more. I think I can't remember why even I decided to read the lyrics. And once I knew what the lyrics were, listening to the song was completely different.
Yeah,
different experience. And that goes for a lot of these songs. Actually, once I read the lyrics, it made me appreciate the album more, or made me appreciate that particular song way more. So I think I'd recommend reading the lyrics to anyone also, either as they listen to the album or just read them. I think I read them separately. I think I just read through them all together, and it just made everything click that much more. But yeah, Sober I love. Another song that I would imagine has something to do with his wife, which makes it which gives it a much deeper and like emotionally heavy feeling. And I really love that song. Track 9. How do you feel about this one, Boogus?
I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I love it.
Really different, kind of rockabilly-ish.
Yeah. Which I don't think Devin's ever done anything like this song ever. I could be wrong.
I mean, not that I could pull out right away.
Yeah.
It sounded like something different for him.
Yeah, so it's obvious why he didn't put this on the album.
Yeah. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that I really like to hear on the bonus disc. Is just like some weird idea he had that wouldn't fit anywhere, but he's like, we'll finish it off and put it out there. Yeah.
It almost sounds to me like vocally it sounds like Devin Townsend like trying to be Dracula or something.
Yeah.
That's and so whenever I listen to this song, I feel like I'm, we all have, like we talked about earlier, we all have like certain music takes us to a certain place and it paints a certain picture in our mind. And I just picture listening to this in like a castle or something, like some creepy dark castle at night. And I don't know, it really works. I'm not sure what he was thinking or what I don't know anything about the construction of the song, but yeah, it sounds like a rockabilly Devin Townsend song. I think it's pretty badass.
Yeah.
I think it's still mellow though, but it's got such a cool groove and atmosphere, and it's just a cool standalone track. And then so track 10, Carry Me Home. This is probably in my top 5 of songs of both discs if you were to put them together. Again, appreciated this one much more after reading the lyrics. It's another song where I think he's probably incorporating, thoughts or experiences, with his wife, which it makes it kind of a sad song. But even the sad stuff on this entire album is what I like about it is it's not going to depress you. It's not going to put you in like a depressed funk or anything.
Yeah.
The somber, more sad stuff, it still there's like a feeling of hope in all of it. None of it's like we're fucked. We can't fix this.
No, nothing ever feels like hopeless or
it's not like typo negative or anything like that. It's
right.
It's like things are fucked, but we're gonna fix it.
Yeah, and I feel like in an alternate world, this could be like a hit country song. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't mention that. It's got like a countryish vibe.
Yeah.
And I don't like country music. Like
I got a couple skeletons in my closet, but
that's fine.
I'm not ready to reveal that yet.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. Like I don't know. I know people that appreciate like old, like 60s, 70s country. I've maybe heard a song or two that I liked, but not really something I can totally get down with. But I imagine that was a vibe in his mind when he wrote this song. I don't think it could accidentally sound like a country song. I mean, Devin likes a variety of genres. He likes a lot of music. I don't know. He's probably a fan of certain country music.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Didn't you say? So I haven't heard much of Casualties of Cool yet, but didn't you say that this had that vibe?
Yeah, Casualties of Cool kind of has that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say it's a country album because it's not, but it has kind of that feel to it.
Americana, maybe that would be a good
Americana. There we go. Then you don't have to say you like country. You can say you like Americana.
Yeah, because there's a difference.
Yeah.
I think I would call it that. Maybe it's got like an Americana vibe. But the last couple days I've been playing this song on. I've just been kind of playing it on repeat, which I've done that with every song that is like made sense to me on this album. I go through a phase where I listen to it like 5 times every day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and sometimes like just back to back. I just can't help it. And this is one of those songs. So I don't know. I loved it.
Yeah, I rarely do that.
I rarely do that too.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I don't do that with everything.
I always feel like it's cheating. Like you can't just listen to the one song. You gotta listen to the album.
Yeah, and I am an album guy too, like you said, and I don't skip songs. When I listen to an album, even if there's a song on there, like I don't know, when I like an artist, I appreciate pretty much everything that they do usually. I guess there's exceptions, but I never skip stuff. I don't skip songs. But I will occasionally play them by themselves, but it's rare.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would say if this was one full album, I think my favorite songs probably be Moon People, Lightworker, Call of the Void, Heartbreaker, Dimensions. I just named almost every song. But then I would kind of stop, and then I would say maybe Factions. Well, Sarcasm 2 also.
Okay.
And I would go to the last 3 on the disc 2, 8, 9, and 10. Those are all my favorites. I don't all like them all equally, but those are probably, if I had to eliminate certain tracks, those are the ones I would stick with.
Okay.
Would you?
I really, man,
it's tough to do that.
I really feel like the album, as an album, Lightwork is so like, to me, it's perfect. I don't know what I would change. I don't think I can't, it's hard for me to even pick one out and say, this is my favorite, because I feel like it depends on what's before it and after it. And I guess that's part of why I like this so much. It's an album. Like it's a journey with a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah, it is. That's a good point.
Whereas
cinematic, it's almost like a movie where it has 3 parts to it. Most
records are they write music until they have 45 minutes, and then they say, okay, that's an album. And
more of a collection of songs.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah, if I were to give this, I haven't done like a lot of reviews where I would give something like a score, but yeah, like I said, I don't find any filler on either of these discs. Some of it, some songs I like more than others, but I cannot use the word filler on this album personally.
Yeah.
Like there's, even like I said, the last track, Children of God, is kind of drawn out. And I don't so far love it, but I still wouldn't change it,
Right.
I think it could grow on me. So I would probably give this, if I were to give it the score of, like a number, I would easily give this a, either an 8.5 or a 9.
9 for sure, maybe 9.5. I don't know. I hate to give out 10s because I feel like that's the perfect classics, and an album that just came out, I'm not gonna give a 10. But
true.
If I was gonna, it would be this.
Yeah.
Like this is between this and the new Marillion album. I'm not sure what my album of the year is gonna be, but it's gonna be one of them. One of these.
Oh, I didn't know. So Marillion has an album out this year?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I gotta check that out. And you really like it?
Yeah.
Damn.
It's really good.
Okay.
But I'm in the tank for Marillion. Like I love everything. So
yeah,
might not be the best review. But.
No, but I mean, when you really love a band too, you might that also means that you set your standards a little high.
Yeah, so. That happens too. Yeah. I feel like they're on a they're at the end of their career pretty much. They've said that they might do one more album.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe not, but that the last couple albums their mindset has been, this might be the last album we ever do, so let's make it mean something and take all the time.
They got to be pushing 70.
Yeah, they're in their. I think one of them is. They're in They're all in their mid 60s at least. So.
Well, like Steve Harris from Iron Maiden, he's like 66.
Yeah.
And Marillion started a little bit. When did Marillion start?
Like late 70s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, okay, well, I guess Maiden technically probably formed in the late 70s too, so they might be right about that same age. Yeah, that's the next band on my list to like really, really dive into. I've been buying their their older stuff, but I'm really intrigued to hear their newer stuff, because from what I've heard, it's like a kind of a different ball game, right?
Yeah. Fish was such a personality.
Yeah.
And he wrote the lyrics, for those early albums, and to a lot of people, Fish was Marillion.
Yeah. I've heard that, yeah.
Even though he didn't write the music, but so when he left, a lot of people were like, well, that's the end of that, So the whole personality of the band changed, because Fish was the identity of the band, and then they had to move on. So now they got the new guy they've had since 1989.
Is that when he
but
joined?
A lot of people, he'll always be the new guy.
Okay, yeah. So with Marillion, I've only heard Misplaced Childhood and I bought that a couple years back. I'm still digesting that one. I've heard it 2 or 3 times, and that's another album where I'm like, I've never really heard any, as much as people say that they sound like Genesis, I've never really heard anything like Misplaced Childhood.
Okay. I think maybe you just got Script for Jester's Tear, right?
I just picked it up. Yeah.
I think that's the one that's most Genesis like.
Oh, okay. Well, because they did love Genesis, and that they didn't hide that fact. That's
right.
That's kind of like why they started the band, is because they were so inspired by stuff like Genesis, and they wanted to play that kind of music, even though it was like the tail end of like late 70s prog was almost dead. Like all the heavy hitter prog bands were they had to start playing like simpler music because that's what the record labels wanted. So Brilliant were like, well, they had to be a little bit younger because they missed the boat for the early 70s prog.
Yeah.
So
they were not fashionable.
They wanted to bring that back. They wanted to. A lot of people call that Brilliant. They call that kind of like a newer or a second wave of British prog, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, I've heard it called neo prog.
Yeah. Which you got to give them credit. Like that wasn't the popular thing as far as what radio or record labels wanted. They didn't want those prog epic, albums anymore. They wanted it toned down. So to come out right at that time where it'd already been a couple years of record labels, there were probably stops. They weren't signing prog bands anymore, I bet you, or at least not very many. So it's pretty cool to like, we're going to do this, right at the time where record labels don't want this.
Yeah. And then they did their full concept album, Misplaced Childhood, and had their biggest hit ever that was just stuck in the middle of it. And
Grendel, right? Is that Grendel?
Kaylee.
Grendel's way too long. That couldn't be a single.
Yeah, and it was too short. Strangely, as a prog band, they wrote a hit single that was too short, so they had to do another version of it. They added more of a guitar solo to put it on the radio, and
wow.
And then they were huge, and then they were miserable, and Fish quit. So
yeah. Is there like a character? Do they have? Because I haven't seen all their album covers. Is there like some kind of a theme between like album covers? Because I was looking. I showed you the other day. I picked up Script for Jester's Tear, and I picked up what's that other one called?
Clutching at Straws.
Clutching at Straws, and I was like looking at both covers, and I'm like, what is? So you got the Jester, on the first album, and then Clutching at Straws. He's on there again, I think. He's in that picture of the bar.
Yeah, he's at the bar. Yeah.
Is that like a character that they use, or is that just a
loosely? Yeah, it's you can interpret it as being Fish.
Oh, okay.
So like he's he's on the cover of Script, he's like in a crappy apartment writing a song.
Yeah. And
then the second album, he's in a fancy hotel room and he's drunk and there's just crap laying all around. And then Misplaced Childhood, he's a child and
does the Misplaced Childhood, doesn't he have the iguana too?
Yeah. Those album covers are pretty sweet to like just go through and look for all the stuff. I think that's the She Chameleon, which is a song on the second album, Fugazi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of little clues and stuff that you can spend a lot of time looking and trying to pick out.
Okay, yeah, because I was looking at Clutching at Straws, and I was like, looking at all the characters on the cover, I'm like, why is this one guy barefoot in a bar? I'm like, that can't be a mistake. And then I kept going back and forth, and I was like, oh wait, he's barefoot in the first album cover too. He's in his, like you said, in his apartment playing his fiddle thing, and he's barefoot. So I'm like, oh. And then when you look at the Clutching at Straws cover, he's barefoot, and then he has his Jester costume like stuffed in his coat pocket.
Yep.
So I was like, that's really fucking clever. That's really cool. So
yeah, sorry, I just had to refresh my memory. I had it sitting right here. The lyrics for the early Marillion, the Fish stuff, I heard it described as it's lyrics for like the romantic drunken 20-year-old.
Yeah.
And that's when I started listening to them. So that they really spoke to me then, whereas now as an older person, their new lyrics mean more to me. I still really like the Fish stuff. I mean,
well, yeah, I mean, like you said, those lyrics were probably written by a very, very young, you know, early 20s dude, which I mean, nobody is at their wisest when they're 22 years old,
right?
Or whatever, you know, so
Right.
to hold on to that and think that those lyrics are better than anything they've done, which some people probably do say that. That's a weird thing to say, you know.
Yeah, the friend that introduced me to Merlion, I think he's heard some of the Steve Hogarth, the newer singer. He's heard some of that stuff, but it doesn't mean anything to him. To him, Merlion is the first 4 albums.
So, yeah, from what I've gathered, I follow a few like prog-oriented channels on YouTube, and the Steve Hogarth stuff the fans seem to be really, really divided. Some like all of it, a lot like only the early stuff. But I guess it goes that way with any band. Some people just tend to take change.
Jeff did a deep dive a while ago about Merlion, and it was just covering the Fish stuff, and I asked him, because what I suspected is, if I was a fan of Merlion in 1988 and then Fish left, I might have been one of those people like, oh, well, forget this, it's over. Yeah. But when I started listening to him, Fish had been gone for 10 years, so I knew that eventually Fish was gonna leave and there'd be a new singer. Yeah. So it wasn't like a trauma for me, you know. Yeah. Whereas Jeff, he kind of confirmed it, that, like, you know, as a fan at the time,
yeah,
Fish being was like, that was the end.
Yeah, I could see that, and it's everyone's different, as you know, we're all different as people. Like, some of us just don't take change in general very well. Yeah. Some people are less open-minded. Where did Steve Hogarth come from?
That was another thing that pissed everybody off. He was like a pop guy.
Oh, shit.
He'd been in a couple pop bands. Okay. That had been signed, but didn't really go anywhere. Yeah. So that's where he came from. He wasn't a prog fan, really. Mm-hmm. So, you know, everyone saw this like, oh, this friggin' new wave pop guy is now the singer of Merlion, and you know, he looks kind of like a heartthrob a little bit, and, you know, with his open shirt. So yeah, I can see why people would be skeptical.
Yeah, to an extent. Yeah, I definitely get that. Would you say nowadays are you a bigger fan of the Hogarth stuff, or?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
That it's definitely, if I think in my head, I want to listen to some Merlion, it's Hogarth.
Yeah. I have a friend like that with it. I'm a big Fates Warning fan, and I have a buddy who's also a big Fates Warning fan, and we both jumped into the band after Ray Alder was the singer. So we're kind of different. Like, I love the early Fates Warning. I probably prefer the early stuff, but I really dig the later stuff. But he's a bigger fan of the Ray Alder stuff. To him, yeah, the stuff with John Arch is like, he's like, I think that's good, but it's just, you know, for me, it's like the Ray Alder Fates Warning. That's what I listen to all the time, and I rarely go into the John Arch stuff. So
that's pretty. It's a pretty similar situation. I'm a Ray Alder guy too.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah, I mean, those albums. It's almost like a different band, you know.
Yeah, and like, and that's what I heard first too. So I got into the band, and then I go back, and it was so jarring that John Arch is so. I'd never heard a singer like that before, and it didn't make any sense to me, and I was just like, why won't he stop singing? There's too many words.
He's like a guitarist with his voice, you know.
Yeah. I've since grown to appreciate him. So
yeah, me too.
But at the time, yeah, I think I ended up getting rid of those albums after a while, because I just never listened to them. And then I bought them back.
Oh, I'm sure.
Later,
yeah.
But
yeah, you got to have those.
Yeah.
That's so. I get. Yeah, I get why people, are not into certain eras of certain bands, but I feel as long as they're giving them a shot, I think then I'm fine. I'm like, as long as you've tried to get into it, but some people don't even try. They're just like, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Give it. If you really love the band, like, you'll give it a shot. Yeah, maybe I'll listen to some Merlion albums today.
Yeah. Get into it, man. There's only 20 albums?
They have that many?
Like that?
I didn't know they had that many albums. Oh,
Yeah.
shit. What do you think about? Have you heard any of Fish's solo stuff?
I've tried to keep up with it.
I haven't heard any of it. But...
It's good. It's good. It's not Marillion, obviously, and
yeah,
he's really not a songwriter. I mean, he's a lyric writer, and I'm sure he does vocal melodies and stuff, but
yeah,
the music is kind of dependent on whoever he's collaborating with at the time.
True.
He did one that Steven Wilson basically wrote the music.
Wow. That'd be interesting.
Sunsets on Empire. It's a really good one.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's kind of varied.
Yeah. I think he had a new album out recently.
Yeah, really it's supposedly his last one.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It doesn't compare to me to Marillion, but
yeah. I don't know. I'll get there eventually. I probably won't touch any of the solo stuff from any of those guys until I've actually, delved into Marillion like full on. So
yeah, there's enough.
There's
definitely enough. Yeah, he was down here meowing, so I thought he wanted to come up and say hi.
Oh my god, he's huge.
He is not. He's little.
Well, I'm just saying he looks big. When you picked him up, he looked like a giant cat.
He is big. He is big, but I always defend him like my wife says he's fat. No, he's not. Shut up.
No. He's big boned.
Yeah, that's right. I like to say he's ripped.
Yeah,
he's so muscular that
it's all big. Muscle.
Yeah, that's right.
He's like,
but yeah, there's enough. There's more than enough Marillion material to. You're not gonna have to veer off and go to solo projects unless you want to.
I'm not gonna do that until that's for later. I don't want to overwhelm myself, but it'll take time. I don't rush into things like that,
Yeah, they're my favorite band, and I haven't heard all the solo stuff either. It's like, I don't feel like I need it.
Yeah, you've checked out, you've checked it out at least. It just, if it doesn't click with you, it's like, why buy it,
Yeah.
So, anyways, I'll let you go. I know you got wrestling to go watch.
Oh, we got it done. We watched it.
Oh, you did that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, looking forward to next week. Just simply to have the 4-day weekend. I haven't had that in a long time. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. You
Paid?
guys, what are you guys doing at the post office? Are you going to be closed for?
We never close, man. You might not get mail, but we never close.
That's true. It's a never ending thing,
Yeah. I have this week off, but after this week it gets great, Christmas starts, so
yeah. It'll
get crazy.
I can't even imagine the holiday season. Like, who's busier than USPS in the holiday season?
Yeah.
Nobody's busier.
It's not much fun, but
especially after Amazon got so big, really fucked you guys.
Yeah.
I think that doubled your workload pretty much.
Yep. So it'll be all right. Hey, it's we get overtime pay, so whatever. It's not for nothing.
Yeah, you've lived this far. You'll be all right. All right, man. Well, thanks for joining. We will.
Yeah, thanks, man. It was fun.
Yeah, we got I'm sure we'll come up with other ideas that we'll do. I like when I talk about certain things, I like having someone else to bounce ideas off instead of me having to be the focal point of everything.
Yeah. I'm sure it's a lot easier.
It's easier and it's funner, I guess.
Yeah.
There's nothing fun about talking to yourself. I mean, it's just the thing you do. It's not exactly it's not as rewarding, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thanks for joining. What's the cat's name?
Oh, this is Oscar.
Oscar, that's a sweet name.
You gonna say hi?
Oscar the Grouch. He's just yeah, I'm good. All right. Well, I'll talk to you later, man.
All right, man. Thanks.
See you.
See you.